Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is another podcast with Aris P. Please like and subscribe. Thanks in advance. I'm going to talk about the New York Knicks Detroit Pistons game that ended a few minutes ago in Detroit, in the great state of Michigan. The final score was 125-81. The Knicks won. And you don't get to see a 44-point differential every day. So that was absolutely amazing. But anyway, let's cut to the chase. The game began with Randall going hard again, behind the arc, and he was basically a leader again, red hot. The Knicks looked determined from the get-go. The score was 11-0, so the Pistons took a timeout at that point. And it was funny how the Pistons finally scored a free throw to make the score 14-1. So everything was starting to show from the beginning, and luckily things were steady this time, consistent. I think it was nice of Derrick Rose to try to help Killian Hayes by showing him the ropes a little bit. That's good. I mean, when veterans do that, it's really, really good for youngsters. RJ Barrett was red hot too. I loved his game. I think that even though Detroit is the worst team of the Eastern Conference, I think they're compatible to the Knicks. I mean, to their style of play. They're one of those teams that we can defeat easily, I think. But regardless of that, I'd also say that this was our best performance, for the season and maybe for many, many years. You can see how mad the players were. You can see how mad the players were at themselves for losing those previous games, the 3 consecutive ones. So anyway, the score ended 41-15 in the first quarter in favor of the Knicks. Both teams couldn't score at the beginning of the second quarter. The veterans, Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson, were brought off the bench to rest the other guys, the starters. Oh, along with Obi Toppin. I mean, even Elfrid Payton scored a three-pointer. And he only has like 25%. So that means that he's not a typical three-point shooter like most NBA players. He prefers drives and, of course, feeding his teammates. I would say that I loved watching the Knicks play tonight. They hustled hard. They were determined. I noticed that the Pistons improved their defense towards the end of the second quarter. They reacted by scoring as well. And that was because I think that the Knicks transformed into the team that lost from Minnesota, for example. But that was for a little bit. Luckily for us, that didn't have a duration. So the second quarter ended 60-41 in favor of the Knicks. I think that the Knicks merely did their thing in the third quarter to maintain their lead, except for towards the end of the third quarter where they actually started to improve again. So that quarter ended 88-61. Of course, the Knicks were still in the lead. Now, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the only good thing for the Detroit Pistons, I would say, was the DJ who put Dr. Dre's Still DRE, the instrumental, I love when people show respect to Dr. Dre. He's one of my all-time favorites as a producer and anyway, since NWA. Now about Amadou Diallo, because that's how his name is pronounced and not Amadou Diallo or whatever. He was amazing. I mean, he's a great young talent. He's got athleticism. He penetrates. And he's got a damn good long-range shot, too. Then we got to watch a couple young women dance to a Drake track. But not even that could resurrect the Pistons. Emmanuel quickly gave the Knicks an extra spice in the end. His technique for his age is outrageous. Layups, shots. His initials, IQ, that says it all. I'm of the opinion that 2 major factors helped the Knicks in order to dominate this game. 1, Randall's game. He's our all-star, so that's quite obvious. And number 2 is shots from long distance. You gotta knock down those threes in today's NBA so you can win and dominate. Kevin Knox was scoring as well, oddly. I think that instead of giving it all we got against the Pistons, we could have and should have done better in previous games. Now we also got the Brooklyn Nets on Monday and the Boston Celtics on Wednesday, respectively, which are crucial and difficult games. We'll see about that. We'll see how it goes. Oh, and we even got to see Harper and Pinson. Tibbs ain't the complacent type, so you know it was all about the point differential. I'm out. Peace.